Hey everybody, welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling, and my wife Sarah is here with me, and we are going to be talking about Fleetwood Mac. This is a band that I can thank Sarah for kind of not introducing me to, but for getting me in listening to them.
I made him more of a fan.
Yeah, and so we've got a couple of albums that came out in 2024 to talk about. One we're going to kind of breeze over, but the other one we want to kind of go into because we find it fascinating for a lot of reasons. The first one is this compilation that came out. That's our dog Rufus. He's very excited. You see him down there with his teeth.
Yeah.
Rufus. This is best of 1969 to 1974. Rufus. So this album, this one chronicles the metamorphosis from Fleetwood Mac. Like by the time their third album, Then Play On, came out in 1969, it was still the Peter Green era, but they were moving away from their just straight ahead blues beginnings from the first two albums and the first couple of compilations. Like the early Fleetwood Mac career is a little confusing because there's things that were released in the UK that weren't released in North America. And let's just take a moment to appreciate our wonderful dog, Rufus.
He's going to get kicked out.
We love him so much.
We do love him, but
he's so silly.
He's being, I don't know why he's extra.
He wants to be involved. And
I'm sitting with a blanket, guys. We're at our kitchen table.
Yeah. But anyway, so this starts with music from Then Play On, and it goes all the way to 1974's Heroes Are Hard to Find. So this chronicles the changes from Peter Green leaving, Jeremy Spencer still in there from the blues lineup as far as lead guitarists go, him leaving, Danny Kirwan coming in, being replaced by Bob West and Bob Welch coming on, and through all of that, you've got Christine, John McVie, and Mick Fleetwood. And so this takes you from 1969 to 74, just before the Buckingham Nicks era and just before the big breakthrough. So this starts off with one of the all-time classics, Oh Well, technically Oh Well Part 1. This is a great song that I think a lot of people have heard, like on classic rock radio. Maybe you didn't realize it was Fleetwood Mac because it doesn't exactly sound like what that name implies. It's also
fabulous.
Yeah. And that's a song that lasted well into the 70s and 80s and beyond.
Yeah, because you said that they, even later days, they still...
Lindsay sang it, and then later on, I think Billy Burnett sang it, and then eventually Mike Campbell sang it, their last incarnation. Yeah, so it's a great song, and it's also got... So then it gets into Station Man, Jewel-Eyed Judy. This is the Jeremy Spencer years, but they're mixing the blues with, I don't know, rockabilly and different forms of music. It's really interesting stuff. Now, the songs that Christine McVie sang are the most recognizable, which kind of makes sense. So songs like "Spare Me a Little of Your Love," like that.
Do you mean recognizable that it's Fleetwood Mac?
That it's Fleetwood Mac, yeah. "Did You Ever Love Me?" So yeah, and then Bob Welch. Bob Welch was the first, Californian, I think, to join this English band. I think I've got that right, and he helped pave the way for the sound that would make them superstars. And by far, the key song is "Hypnotized" because it's just an epic of a song from the Mystery to Me album. That's on here. It's also got "Sentimental Lady," which if you hear that, you'll go, well, I know that song. Why do I know that song? It was originally from 1972's Bare Trees album, which is actually quite a good album. I quite like the Bare Trees album. But Bob Welch re-recorded that song when he went solo in 1977 and had a top 10 single with it. And the funny thing is that his solo version to the casual listener would sound more like Fleetwood Mac because you can distinctly hear Christine singing background vocals on the chorus, which aren't on the original, even though she was in the band. Just kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
So yeah, this is a really good, this is a period that often gets overlooked because a lot of people like the early blues stuff, or people like, the self-titled Rumors and Beyond stuff. This is the right stuff in between. So just a single disc compilation worth picking up. But what we're really here to talk about is this Mirage Tour 82. So in 2023, Warner reissued well, I guess it had never been out before, but Rumors Live. So it was various live recordings from the Rumors tour. This is the exact same band, but this is not the same group of people in 1982 as it was in 1977.
No, definitely not.
Sarah's got a lot of notes, so I'm not even sure what all she was writing down, but we have a lot to say about this.
So the reason, long story short, we filmed this video before, and you maybe weren't going to reference that.
I wasn't,
but we did.
But we're trying to do a better version of it.
Sure, because the first time we lost the audio and we didn't know until we watched it back, and then it was kind of
too late.
Moment.
About 4 minutes in, the audio just said bye-bye.
And I was disappointed because as we were discussing previously, I had all of these thoughts about the band that I wanted to make note of, and now it's gone. So I don't know how much of it I actually recall. But before we jump into it, what I did make note of as I watched through the entire 1 hour and 18 minutes of the concert footage on YouTube, and I would highly recommend watching.
Unfortunately, this album, these songs were recorded October 21st and 22nd at the Forum in Inglewood, California. Yeah, on the Mirage tour, which was a very short tour. We'll get into why that is. But these are originally from the long form video that came out in '83. But that was only an 80-minute version of it. It was heavily condensed, and it was originally on HBO, and then it was released on VHS and Laserdisc and all of that. And you can see that footage on YouTube. So the video from a lot of these songs is available on YouTube. I really wish they'd included a Blu-ray, like a remastered, fixed the picture up and everything, because like I was saying to Sarah, there's no way they didn't record the whole show. So that footage exists somewhere, and this would have been the perfect time to put it out. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe they're planning some sort of Blu-ray thing with a bunch of concerts on it. I don't know. But
it'd be great if they did.
But it's worth the watch because it's more than just listening to it. Yes, it's great music, but I think it's important to note what was happening in the inner workings of Fleetwood Mac at this time in 1982. I want to direct your attention to the middle of this. Look at Mick Fleetwood with the eyeliner. And I'll open this up. And these images come to life when you watch the live concert. So I
made notes on the concert visuals too. So if you want to hold that back up. So what I commented was Mick so he's got a black vest with a red scarf, like a kerchief, and he's got the dark smoky eye makeup, I would call it. And he really leans into that animal look, like a Muppet.
Animal from the Muppets is apparently based on Mick Fleetwood. And when you watch his drum performance, you can see why he's crazed.
So it's like the wide, like the dark smoke. Basically, yes. Thanks for that, Tim. I'll never get that out of my brain.
The leering, the I don't know.
Who's not going to be able to sleep tonight?
Yeah.
So anyway, with the really wide-eyed look, stop it, staring, and he's constantly putting his tongue out and stuff like that too. And then
and he's constantly being served liquor.
He's drumming.
He's drumming.
He's putting his head back, and someone
pours a bottle of beer down his throat,
whatever it is.
Whatever. Yeah.
John McVie. What I had made note of was he just seems. I know he had a drinking problem, and that's not funny, but he looks quite relaxed in like a dad sweater. At one point, it's like a zip sweater, and he pretty much stays steady.
Yeah, does his job as bass player. You only notice him when he screws up. He's he's a little bit like Malcolm Young from AC/DC. He just stands there and does his job.
Christine, my notes on that. She looks as glam probably as I've ever seen her. She looked fantastic, I thought. She's got like a red mini skirt and a jacket and boots, red boots too, like a heeled boots, and a black spangly top, which I thought was quite fabulous.
Yeah, you can't really tell. These are
it's unfortunate
sepia toned photos, but
and Lindsay's got like a vest on as well with a white shirt, small white hat. So Tim's
She's kind of got a Stevie thing
Yeah, I
going
broke
on.
this out just for the occasion, although
So
this
I
is
thought I'd
something
put
that I do
this
have.
is the closest that we.
But this is a shirt that I bought. It's not meant to be costume, but anyway, it is fun. In the Stevie vibe. Small white hat and the small guitar. So
Yeah, this little semi electric acoustic guitar that I'm not sure. I should have looked this up, especially because I had a chance to redo this. I'm not sure if he was using that guitar in the Tusk era or not, because during the Rumors era, he was still playing a white Les Paul, maybe a Les Paul Mini, but he developed this guitar with the sound hole in it. So, with his finger picking, not using a pick, he's got a completely unique style. And he's used that guitar. That's mostly what he's used, other than if he's just playing a straight up acoustic guitar. But he seems to be able to get acoustic and electric sounds out of it. So yes, that's very much featured here.
definitely. And as for Stevie herself, like my notes were like this is the classic variations of the flowy tiered skirts, like kind of the wrap ballet type skirts with the really tall high heeled boots. We're talking classic. At some point, she's got like the leg warmers that are kind of over the boots and up to the knee.
She changes a few times.
It's
And that's,
slight
yeah.
variations in the
Yeah.
wardrobe, but the core of it is the same, and like different scarves, like really filmy scarf flow. It's all about the flow, so she can spin and twirl and do her thing with it, and then it's really the perfect quintessential 80s shag hair. And if any of you know what I mean, then you get it. If you don't, I guess you don't, but it's perfection. Just trust
Let
me.
me just double check. I don't think, no, there isn't any more information in here. It's just the 2 discs, unfortunately. Oh no, there's a booklet in here. I just want to know if there's any more pictures in here.
Oh.
So yeah, let's see.
So while you look,
well, just
not really.
Not really. There's just another photo of the band
Fringe
on stage.
and flowy, and
yeah,
it's pretty fabulous. So the other thing that I had made note of was basically between Tusk and Mirage. So what have we got? 2 or 3 years in between?
yeah. So Tusk came out in '79. Mirage came out in '82.
Right, but a whole lot changed essentially within the band itself.
Yes.
Several of them had solo albums.
Yeah, 3 of them all put solo albums out in '81. Mick put out a solo album. No, I don't think Mick had any. It was just more of something he wanted to do. I don't think he had any plans on global pop superstardom. Lindsay put out his first solo album, Law and Order. He had a top 10 single with Trouble, great song.
Love that song.
Which is practically a Fleetwood Mac song because Mick's on it. I think Bob Welch is on it. Like this, it's a lot of back and forth. But the main thing is that Stevie put out her first solo album, Belladonna.
Beautiful.
And it became a huge hit at a time when most solo albums from established groups weren't that successful. Usually these people were more successful in the confines of a group. And that's, for the most part, statistically, that's true. The 2 big exceptions, I think, are Stevie Nicks and Phil Collins. And oddly enough, they both went solo the same year. But Belladonna went on to sell like 4 million copies. So it doubled the sales of what Mirage would end up doing, and probably way more than Tusk sold. And she became a major, I'd say, rock star in the 80s in her own right. Her music was a little bit different. I mean, she had Edge of 17 and Stop Dragging My Heart Around and Leather and Lace. I mean, yes, granted, 2 of those were duets, but she began to forge her own identity outside of Fleetwood Mac. And then it was time to do another Fleetwood Mac album, right?
I think her visuals helped, though. Like, she's so distinctive.
Yeah.
Always was, but it's as a front person going into becoming a solo star, her general image really lends itself well to that, I think. And her songwriting,
she knew how to handle the spotlight,
and she liked it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And also her voice is very, I mean, love it or hate it,
it's unique.
You know who you're hearing. There's no debate.
And there's no sharing the vocals with 2 other people. There's no sharing songs. So she's calling the shots. And she defied the odds by having a really successful solo album, but then she got dragged, and now she finds herself.
Right.
And she's also separated from all of those, failed relationships and the inter-band drama and the politics. But now, contractually.
Well, and I think she's spoken quite openly about it, that she was doing her own thing and really outside of concerts and when they are recording, it's not like they really have. I know she had a really close relationship with Christine,
Yeah.
but it's not like they were hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
It had become a business at this point. So
yeah.
when you get pulled back, that's a challenging thing to do. So when you have that many conflicting personalities with all that history on one stage,
It's pretty amazing that they were able to pull it together as much as they did
and not
for as long as
physically
they
harm
did.
one another. Yes.
Well, that too.
So one of the notes that I had made here was that it's not part of the set list, but it would have been a great addition had they done it. But the song Straight Back, and you had looked it up online as well,
Yeah.
but that it's not just about, I mean, like most of her songs, it's not about one thing in particular. Like her writing is quite complex,
inscrutable,
and often, yes,
yeah.
and metaphorical and all that fun stuff. But that it's not just about the return to Fleetwood Mac from her solo career, but it's also, there's the personal relationship
breakup
component.
with Jimmy Iovine, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yes, the Jimmy Iovine.
yes, absolutely. And then when you watch the concert, you kind of like, she kind of floats on and off screen regularly.
Well,
kind of, I'm not sure if she really wants to be there, but she is there.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Stevie in context of Fleetwood Mac is that she's the only member of that 5-piece band that, other than the occasional percussion, she doesn't play an instrument. You know, so Christine and Lindsay, even when they're not singing lead on a song, they're performing. They're still playing. But when Stevie doesn't need to be on stage, she's not. Now we speculate heavily on what she was doing when she was not on stage, because well, this, I don't know. Do we want to get into track by track on this live album?
I did make notes that way, but there's chunks though that I'm missing because there's some footage that wasn't part of it.
Right. So let's talk about. So what's the first? Okay. So the first song on the album is Secondhand News, and that's something I want to address too. Here they are supporting the Mirage album, which I think is quite a good album. Really good album.
It is actually
really consistent, entertaining album. It doesn't have the sort of gravitas that Rumors has, or the self-titled for that matter. It's not the quirky experimental album that Tusk was, and it doesn't have the polish of Tango in the Night. So
you don't have it, right? I just want to show the
visual.
So
that's the Mirage album cover.
Beautiful, yeah. The album cover. I really love it myself.
It's a really good album, and it kind of gets overlooked. Like, it's only, like when I say it's only sold 2 million copies, when you consider how many the other albums around it sold, it's kind of a shame, because it is a good album. It had 2 big hit singles off of it, and there's some good album tracks that weren't singles. Anyway, they're promoting that album, and there's only 4 songs on here on either of the 2 discs from the Mirage album. Meanwhile, 8 of the 11 songs on Rumors are scattered throughout it. They practically do the whole album 5 years down the road. I know it was a big album and it wasn't going away anytime soon. It was, it's still an evergreen seller today. Somebody somewhere right now, as I say this, is buying Rumors for the first time in some form or another, which is great, because a lot of young people continue to discover, the classic rock. But there's not a lot of promotion for the album at hand. So the show opens with Secondhand News.
And I had made the remark to Tim, like, why choose to open with Secondhand? I mean, I love Secondhand News, but I kind of thought it would be The Chain as the opener, if I'm honest.
Well, Secondhand News is fast.
That was what you said to me.
It's the first song on Rumors. And speaking of fast, like a lot of songs, and this is not the only band that did this, but they play it way too fast. The tempo,
it opens really
tempo
fast.
Is, it's just a gap, like it's way faster than the studio version. So there's no video of that. Well, I say there's no video on that was on what was released. So then, the first one we have visual to is The Chain, one of their, best ever.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you know The Chain, it's fantastic. There's so many different components of it. You get those pieces of different songs. It's
probably the best example of a Frankenstein song you can think of, because
really,
on paper it shouldn't work.
It shouldn't work,
but it flows together so well.
Yep. And the main note I put here was I felt that the raw vocals and intensity were better captured with the visual of the live concert performance.
Yeah, because Stevie and Lindsay are practically shouting at each other, and they're changing the phrasing of the songs.
If you don't
Is
love
if
me
you
now,
do not love me, you will not love me again. Like it's
They mean
quite
it.
something. Yeah,
they mean it.
yeah.
So yes, it is quite something. And when you hear it, I felt like, because I wasn't sure what I thought as a Fleetwood Mac fan, just listening to the concert, the live version.
Yeah.
But a lot of it makes so much more sense to me seeing it. I guess I don't know how better to state that, Tim. Like,
it's hard
because she sounds so off to me.
We're gonna get it's not a great vocal performance from Stevie, and I don't think she was treating herself very well at the time. And like Sarah said, I really don't think she wanted to be there. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm not saying it was half-hearted and she wasn't.
And it's okay. So, and it's not that it sucked.
No, it's just very, very raw, and it's very real. And this is one of the better more listenable examples of, because some of them aren't so well. Anyway,
we're amongst friends here. You can say what you mean. I'm not sure. I can't put words in your mouth.
She sounds terrible in some spots.
In some spots, yeah.
Sounds awful. But like I said to Sarah, like back then, it cost a lot of money to bring a film crew out to film a concert.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to use the footage that you had. It's like Led Zeppelin. The song remains the same. Like all of the band members have said, there's better concert footage that they could have used, but that's what was filmed. So that's what got used.
So that's.
So then they do "Don't Stop." I don't think that one.
No.
So
it didn't. Get
that one is again way too fast, and there's certain dynamics in the song that I think are important, because if you take them out, it sounds like you don't know the song.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a part where towards the end, you don't stop thinking about it, don't.
Right.
And it builds back. They don't do that. They just kind of steamroll on through. You kind of miss it. You're waiting for where's the stop? They don't. Don't stop. Anyway, Dreams, is that on the?
Yep. So Dreams, no, there was no video of that. I thought that one was fast too. It seemed
very fast.
Like when
very
we
fast
before, and I found it off-putting. It didn't have
chorus. The chorus sounds quite different. The way that Stevie sings it,
and her vocals here are lower.
Very much, yeah. Lindsay's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the chorus, I think, which is a blessing where you're in a band with two other singers, but. And then, unfortunately, it would have been really cool if they had filmed, as we talked about. Oh well,
yes,
because that's on here. But first of all,
well, just 1 second. I wish that we'd gotten a video version of Dreams, and I know that there are earlier footages from there's footage from the 70s.
This was on 2 nights, so one of the 2 nights we would have liked to have had.
Yeah, because I think I would like to see another ethereal Stevie version of Dreams.
Not only would I like to see the entire concert, I would like to have an option to have a commentary from Stevie, or maybe or some of the band members talking about
that would be a gift.
Oh man, that was blah blah blah. Like I think that would be really cool.
So and so was snorting.
Or when you see somebody walk off stage, oh yeah, that's when such and such the roadie handed me. It would have been. It could happen. I just think this would have been a good place to put it.
Absolutely. Okay, so oh well.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, like that's it's the Fleetwood Mac song that had the most longevity. It's the only one from the early days that consistently showed up in set lists, and every lead guitar player has had a go at it, and it's so good. And I like Lindsay how he sings it.
I love it.
And it's different on here than it is on the 1980 live album. He slows it way down, like when he, can't help it but the shape I'm in.
I just think it's fantastic.
And my legs are thin. So don't ask me what if you got to know the song to understand. There's a lot of stops and starts, but it's great. His guitar playing is fantastic on it, and it fits it so well. Like I'm so glad it's on here.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I had, just the sheer musical ability of this roster.
Yeah.
Lindsey Buckingham is colossally underrated.
Lindsay's like the thinking man's guitar hero, I think.
The sound that one man can get out
Yeah.
of that little guitar, he finger picks
With his finger, his calluses must have been like, it must have been like he had extra fingertips. Like, I don't know. It's amazing.
I don't know, but he's one man.
Yep.
And by the way, when they kicked him out of the band and they went on
they needed
tour,
two
guitarists to replace
they
him.
had to do that twice. They had to do that in 1988, and they had to do it in 2017 or whenever it was.
So if that doesn't say something,
yeah,
as a
takes two to
testament to what
he wasn't just a singer and a guitar player.
Now, I'm not saying he's an easy personality. We're not talking about that.
Nope. But as far as music, they recognize that, there's no one guy we can get. Okay, this guy plays guitar really well, but he's not a great singer, or he doesn't sing like him. This guy doesn't play guitar as well, or he can't play guitar and sing at the same time, or
it's
whatever.
Not just that, though. I think just as a musician, just strictly as a guitar player,
just to be able to do what to learn his parts,
the sound.
Yeah,
it's a very full. Like there's a lot going on in terms of that, and they're all fantastic. Like McVie's his bass playing is
rock solid.
Yeah.
It doesn't get enough. Like I said, in context to this band, you don't notice it, but if you were just isolate his bass lines, the songs wouldn't be the same without them. So, oh well, of course, that's a song. I mean, if they had filmed it, Stevie wouldn't have been on stage for that, because other than maybe shaking a maraca, she wouldn't have anything
Which
to do.
She might. I mean, she tends to do percussion type things while she flits about the stage.
That's a good way of putting it, because she's very slight. So she kind of pixie twirls around. But, there are parts where she doesn't look like she's got the best footing.
Well, she's doing it in heels, Tim.
Well, yeah, that too, but
she's
clapping off the beat.
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, that's not an easy thing to do. Those of us, who've worn heels, it's not an easy thing. Anyway, so that's all well.
Yeah, so next up we have a good shining example of, well, if you say, well, what do you mean by Stevie not being in the best of shape? Rhiannon, watch it. Watch Rhiannon and listen to it.
So the word I keep using, the vocals are raw. So the emotion is there in most cases.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of times where she seemed a little spaced out, perhaps, but generally speaking, it's very raw, kind of intense vocals. And then the note I made was that it seems rambling, perhaps free verse in Tim's words.
Well, she's changing the lyrics to the song. And it's her song, so she can do whatever she wants. So she sing the first couple of verses the way that they are on the record. But then she would
deviate a little
improvise, a little freestyle,
perhaps. But the guitar solo I said was great, and it is. I mean, it always is.
There's some look. If you watch again, you got to watch it. Some of the exchanged looks are priceless.
It's wordless.
Yeah,
but you can see it.
Looking daggers sometimes,
And then I also said too, the visual, as far as the visual goes, you get the classic Stevie with, the filmy scarves and the spinning and the dancing, and everything's just kind of,
abandon.
Yes, absolutely. Well said, Tim.
Yeah.
So Brown Eyes is the next one.
Brown Eyes. I like this one. This is I
like it too.
This isn't one that knocks you over the head. This is a Christine song. Mainly this is sha la 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 la. It's just a nice song.
The harmonies are nice.
The harmonies are really nice. Like her and Lindsay always sound good together.
But you get Stevie on that too, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but like Christine has the more steady.
She's got the steady hand.
Yeah.
So she and John McVie, even Mick for that. As much as he seems like he's unhinged, and perhaps he is, they seem to be very consistent.
Well, the longest, they were there
very pro
all along, not all along,
also
but
in the back a little bit, kind of behind.
Yeah.
An instrument, I would say. So yeah, they're very steady, very consistent. Yeah. What else can you say?
Yeah.
Eyes of the World.
Love this one. This is a great album track from Mirage, and I'm glad that they featured it on the video.
Me too. And one of the things, so I said it's a fun song, and it is. It's a great song. And I hadn't realized that the opening vocal bits were Lindsay and Christine kind of going back and forth.
Yeah,
it's almost like staccato. How would you
very
describe?
Quick? It's different than the album version, but the album version I think is all Lindsay double tracked. So this is a nice way around it. But I really like this song, and It could have been a single. It's very catchy.
Maybe
Nice,
it's a miss that it hadn't been.
Great guitar playing in it. Like great
Yes.
solo in this song. I really like it.
Me too. Yeah. Gypsy.
Yeah, one of the big hits from Mirage. We actually just also we watched the video. Great video from Russell Mulcahy. Very cinematic. Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of I wanted to revisit. I mean, obviously we'd seen it before.
I hadn't seen it in years, probably
been a
since
long time.
Backtracks on Much Music.
But the fact that they put these two former couples together, like
they insisted on doing it. Even on the cover of Mirage, you've got Lindsay. It's like, why?
I know. But in the video, they're like, I think it's meant to be like the 30s or something.
Yeah, it's very of a period piece.
They've got Christine and John sitting at a table as if they're a romantic couple, and then you've got Lindsay and Stevie dancing very intimately, and which must have been fun to get them paired off in that way. You would wonder why they would do something.
Wouldn't you like to have live mics?
No. No, because I mean, I think that we tend to want to make it more romantic than probably what it was.
Oh, we know it's not. It would just be get this out of my
right.
Yeah.
So as far as the live performance, though, again, I said it's very low vocally, and then you've got like the warbled vocal kind of in full effect that we all associate with her now. And I don't know, like I wouldn't have said it so much. Like I know that it existed in the 70s, but I think it became more pronounced through the 80s.
It's almost like Michael Jackson, the affectations.
Maybe.
He became more self-aware. Maybe that's it. You know, people think of you as that. Maybe.
Perhaps.
I know that's naturally, like she has a natural vibrato when she sings. Not all singers do. You either have it or you don't. And I think it's one of those cases where singers that don't have it wish they did, and vice versa.
She's definitely leaning into it here.
Oh, very much so.
So we've got the
Easy on Gypsy.
Easy. It's but it's raw. It's emotional intensity, and I felt it was better with the video accompaniment, and again, like the high heeled boots and stuff. But the guitar at the end, I thought was particularly great.
Yeah.
You can almost consistently say that, though, that his guitar is something.
The next one is the third single. I think this hit number 20 or 22. It was a minor hit. I
like this song.
Love and Story. It's a Christine song. I didn't know they filmed this one.
They did. So I just said concert video is fun. They're kind of playing around a little bit with one another.
Oh, yeah.
My note was everyone looks like 80s rock perfection, basically. And, you know, they kind of did for Rick.
If you look at them in the 70s, it's totally different, right? You know, Lindsay's got the fro and the open shirt and the beard, but by now it's all very, you know, not conservative looking, just very different.
I don't know what exactly. It would be interesting to know what exactly like the aesthetic.
Like Christine's not wearing like the scarf. The head. What's the word I'm looking for? Not scarves, but maybe it's a scarf.
It's a scarf, Tim. You don't know.
The hood? What's the word I'm looking for?
It's not a hood, honey.
Hairpiece?
It's a scarf. No, it's a scarf that's tied. It's like a bandana.
Okay.
But it's a prettier scarf than a bandana. Anyway, and then also you've got, again, someone's pouring beer into Mick's mouth while he plays drums.
Yeah. So disc 1 ends with one of the songs from Tusk, one of Lindsay's sort of, I guess, new wavy experiments, Not That Funny, and he really goes...
It's 9 minutes.
He really like
it's unhinged.
Extracts the most out of this. Like he's
so I said it's you get a manic Lindsey Buckingham. And my side note was Stevie's not even on the stage for this from the start of it, so she's off doing whatever.
She really didn't think it was that funny.
No, clearly not. But you've got Lindsay's like doing his thing full on screen.
And he's all like he's doing a lot of this, and like he's constantly moving, yet he's playing the guitar, and he's...
At one point, he kind of wanders off, like, because there's drum and bass solos.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with a lit cigarette in his mouth while he's doing all of that, too. So it's
80s excess.
Sure. So then the next two, Never Going Back Again, which I mean... Love that song. I would have liked to have seen, like, from this time frame, I would
Yeah.
have loved to have seen
Just a
video
couple of
footage.
acoustic songs in a row that they didn't film. Never Going Back Again and Landslide. So Stevie Amble's on stage for Landslide, of course, right?
Well, you'd have to.
So, as I recall, like these songs, whereas most of the songs are played at a very fast tempo compared to their studio
These are
versions,
slower.
these are even slower.
Hmm.
And maybe that's intentional to give Mick a break, or
Well, it's probably a good idea midway anyway,
space. Yeah.
right? In theory. I don't remember, like, from the live, this, like, from the audio itself. Did you have any takeaways?
No, just I mean, just great songs, classic songs. Never Going Back Again is an all-time favorite. I love everything about the song, from the lyrics to the background, but the guitar playing,
it's great. So Tusk
fast.
It's fast.
Oh my! So Tusk. If I get this right, Tusk is do 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 do. Why don't you tell me?
It's frenetic.
Why don't you tell? Like the sings behind the beat, but it's fun though. Christine's playing her accordion.
It's great.
Yeah.
And they seem very into it.
Yeah. They kind of huddle, like the four of them huddle on, huddle together doing it, and the drum solos there from the studio recording. Actually, Mick does 2 drum solos. He hits those drums really hard, and you can see his foot on the hi-hat is constantly going. It's quite something, really. Like you never hear about him in the pantheon of drum legends, but he's always played just the right things for those songs, right? So then, unfortunately, we don't have the next couple of songs on video. Sarah, which that's such a vocal tour de force for Stevie. And honestly, I can't remember how it sounds on here, whether it was shaky or not. But
no, we should have listened to that.
It's a pretty like stark. Like there's nothing much for her to hide behind.
No,
but
sad.
It's such a melancholy song. Anyway, and then Hold Me, which was actually the I think the highest charting song from Mirage. I think it was the biggest song, hit number 8. They didn't do this one, which that's really surprising. Not only was it from their new album, but it was a hit, and it's not on here.
Well, no, sorry, it is on there, but we didn't have it as far as a video in the concert.
That's what I mean. They didn't include it on the home video because it would have been.
I just wanted to be specific.
Yeah, it would have been a then recent hit. You'd think they'd have included that in the video footage.
Well, they should have. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody set fire to the footage.
Well, I mean, you never know. There could have been something. No, that's not going up. They could always edit. I don't know. I'm curious, but why? Because they would have, when home videos were first sold in the early 80s, they were ridiculously expensive. Like mostly the time you rented them, you didn't buy them, and you don't even get the full concert. So they took about 50 minutes.
Oh, I think so. There's quite a few.
80 minutes of a 130-minute concert is all you got. But anyway. So now it's back to Rumors with You Make Loving Fun, which, I mean, Christine is always professional and just delivers.
She's very consistent. Like, you get exactly what you would expect from her. And the guitar was amazing.
Yeah.
I specifically called that out.
And then a real guitar showcase song.
Absolutely.
From the self-titled album, I'm So Afraid. I mean, this is
a
really good
so again,
moment for Lindsay.
Stevie's not on the stage for this one. And so you get the 4, and my note was, it's like the steady rhythm section, like they're completely steady, very consistent, and it kind of gives Lindsay license to be as unhinged and yet but his guitar playing, like as crazy and as wild as it seems to be, it's also very controlled.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain that.
He gets the most out of a few notes.
Is that what it is?
There's not a lot of fast playing, but he gets the most out of a few notes and sustain and no, it's
I don't know. I just say, like, it's hypnotic and compelling, and his guitar playing is
it's an epic song.
It really is. I even use the word.
To me, I'm So Afraid is for the self-titled album is what The Chain is to Rumors. I think they don't sound alike, but they're very epic songs. They're not singles. They're great songs, but they're not pop hits. They don't lend themselves to.
It's too complex, probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know how else to put it other than that. And probably too long too. It would be difficult to condense.
And you wouldn't,
radio.
and yet you wouldn't want to edit. I'm so afraid. You
not
want
at
that
all.
whole solo at the end.
No, and
you know,
for
it's
me,
funny that it never stopped Hotel California from becoming a big hit. So
well, somebody should have given it a go.
Yeah.
Basically, because that was a time period when you could have.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas you can't now. But also, like, I'm So Afraid is another one I wasn't familiar with until the dance.
Yeah.
And it was like a revelation.
And we watched a really good vintage performance of that. I don't know if it's from Rumors or if it's from the self-titled tour, but it's an outdoor concert, and Lindsay's got a red shirt and the white Les Paul, and I'd like to see that whole concert.
Me too. He looked great.
Makes me wonder what is out there for footage.
Oh,
classic, like, concert footage.
Fantastic. Yeah. Go Your Own Way. So I made note. We've got a second guitar player on
Yes.
stage.
Does anyone out there know who the second guitarist is? Because I can't find that information out.
Somebody comes out with an acoustic.
Yeah.
And I felt that Stevie sounded better on this one for whatever reason.
Towards the end, yes.
It's like she perked up or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
That's a great song that they didn't do.
No.
But they do like what I'm going to call a deeper cut, Blue Letter from the self-titled. Really good song.
I said Stevie wanders on and off stage for this one. But she comes in on the harmonies on this gem.
Yeah,
it is a gem.
It's true. She does do a little wandering. And then for an encore, this is one of the best ones. And this suits the unhinged approach.
It does.
Sisters of the Moon from Tusk. This is a fantastic Stevie song.
Oh, I thought she sounded really good, actually, considering that they had gone off and they come back on stage for this encore. And given how rough things sounded prior, I wasn't sure what to expect. But I thought she sounded pretty great. Like, given that the song is heavier, maybe that's why. So
you can really just belt it.
And she did. She does. And
some surprises here.
Yeah, Lindsay sang one of the choruses.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why. I mean, is that something they did consistently? Like, there's bigger fans out there. Is that something they did every night on that tour? I don't know. It sounded good, but
I thought he sounded great, actually.
This is also the version that's known in fan circles as the speaking in tongues version, because you just cannot tell what Stevie is saying. She's just in a trance or something.
She's giving it her everything in this one. But I love Sisters of the Moon. It was one that I wasn't that familiar with.
Classic albums live. Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for a Fleetwood Mac song to be that quote unquote heavy. I don't know.
Like, if that was recorded differently, that'd be an out and out metal song. But it's great. And it kind of set the tone for her solo career. It's very much more than most Fleetwood Mac songs.
Do you mean
like that song wouldn't have sounded out of place for her first couple of solo albums? I don't think.
It's heavier though.
Yeah, but like that's just it.
Do you mean her aesthetic or
with the guitar and the aesthetic too? To me, it's like a precursor to Edge of 17.
Sort of. She really leans into the mystical, all of it, very much so on this. Probably
esoteric.
More so sure. But yeah, I don't know because she does a lot of ballads and stuff, Tim, too, like on her solo. So I'm not sure. I don't know that she would have done.
There was a rock side of her though that wanted,
that
wanted to do songs like that.
Yeah.
And then poor Christine, she comes out and she does Songbird, which is a lovely song. But after Sisters of the Moon, like they should have had her come out by herself and do Songbird, and then end with Sisters of the Moon, because it's kind of anti. I know that's typical for them to end the shows with Songbird. That's
the classic.
That's the classic ending. But
and again, she's so consistent and lovely, and it's her moment.
Yeah.
Truly in the spotlight.
Yeah. But so there you go, folks. Fleetwood Mac fans out there, what do you think of these releases? What do you think of the albums that these came from? Because they're very overlooked albums. Some good stuff here, and then of course this one song in common between the two of them. So. Like to hear your comments, and hope you enjoyed this episode. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching this edition of Tim's Final Confessions. We'll see you later.